The Carrot for Straw Hat train is starting to lose some steam, and that's because of one reason: she's not getting a lot of shine in Wano. I've done previous videos talking about Carrot being a Straw Hat, and for me, she checks most of the boxes. She's got a very clear role as a lookout that she did many times during Whole Cake Island, a very easy path for a dream of the dawn of the new world, also carrying on Pedro's will. She's got good powers as well, plus she fits the diversity quota because she's a mink. But the problem is, in Wano so far, she's gotten very little screen time. She's in the back of the back seat, she's riding in the trunk, and the one hope for her to get more screen time was a matchup with Perospero. But as we saw last chapter, she got bodied. But her defeat came with a caveat, and I'm actually kind of hopeful for what's to come for her story. Because her fight with Perospero was off screen and she didn't take a complete L, she's got clapback potential. So let's discuss how she could potentially bounce back in the story and maybe even get some power-ups. Now first off, I kind of want to examine the Perospero situation and why I'm kinda hopeful for Carrot. Because one of the main reasons Carrot's not getting a lot of shine in Wano is because she doesn't really have a lot of connections to Wano. But very luckily for her, Perospero, being the capable man he is, arrived at Onigashima. So he's really the only storyline that Carrot is kinda connected to, and honestly it's the only situation where I can see Carrot getting some serious shine. Now of course with the first go around it was completely off screen and Carrot took an L. But like I said, it was with a caveat. It was because of the fact that the moon was blocked and she did not have access to Sulong. So not only does this not completely end the Perospero storyline, but also kinda hyped up Sulong form a little more, and it allows her to use it later again. What Perospero said in the last chapter about that was a close one, you guys only lost because of the weather, I think that definitely changed a lot of people's perception of how close that fight could have been, because a good amount of people expected us to go back and see Carrot lost even with Sulong. But because of this caveat, it's really opening up the doors for Carrot winning later with Sulong. Now of course in a 1v1 matchup against Perospero, who's very strong, that's gonna be a very close one, but the door is still open. There's other possibilities of how she can power up or join up with some other people to take down Perospero. At the end of the day, Perospero really is the only option for Carrot to get some shine. Some people think the revenge plot is kinda shoddy because Perospero didn't really kill Pedro. He's even said that a couple times himself, like, hey, you guys came into our territory and Pedro blew himself up, I didn't kill him. But ultimately for Carrot, while this fight is revenge driven, it's really about carrying on Pedro's will. If this fight is a defining moment she gets for becoming a Straw Hat, it's more so carrying on Pedro's will of bringing forth the dawn of the new world and making it her dream. So yes, while she's going after Perospero right now because of revenge, which is kinda shoddy, ultimately there's a bigger picture at hand. But how exactly will she get to that defining moment? Well, first off, she's gotta kinda recover. Because her and Wanda just took an L, I don't expect them to come back right away. I actually don't think we're gonna see much from them until the next act in Act 4. Because right now, Oda is setting up Perospero to go and do his own thing. Whether that's capturing Marco or fighting the Beast Pirates, he's definitely got his own plan. So the focus right now is not on Carrot, she's gonna need some time to recover. Now at the same time, I ultimately don't think she's that injured either. In Onigashima so far, the damage that people take from these little preliminary fights hasn't really mattered. Because Oda has been using a lot of these little clashes to emphasize certain characters and their moments. Apu is a prime example. After getting slashed by Zoro, he's still absolutely fine. But it's happened to a lot of other people as well. Zoro earlier got slashed, Luffy got knocked out, and Usopp got his head cracked. But all three of those characters have more or less recovered and now are just doing their own thing. So while Carrot did get defeated and she's probably a little hurt, it's not really gonna matter that much when she gets her shine later. I do feel like Wanda could be a little more injured because she doesn't have to be in the forefront of the story so much. Plus when we saw them last chapter, Wanda was kind of staying unconscious the whole time and Carrot was really the only one interacting. So maybe it was a case of like Wanda going out of her way to protect Carrot and that's why Carrot is a little better. But yeah, in the meantime, these two do have to kind of pick themselves back up and recover a little bit, and that's why I don't think we'll see them until Act 4. And by Act 4, when all this chaos and the fighting is going on, Onigashima might be on the flower capital, supernovas might have lost already, there's gonna be a lot happening, so I feel like Carrot and Wanda have to meet up with another group. And the top three options for me are Chopper, Nami and Usopp, and Sanji. Let's start with Chopper because I feel like Chopper and Carrot's relationship is probably the closest, and I actually really like their relationship putting Chopper into this big brother role. It's actually one of the reasons I really like Carrot on the crew, because it takes Chopper and puts him in another role. With Carrot on the crew, Chopper is no longer the youngest and he actually has somebody else he could look after. And overall, I just want to see Chopper get more shine as well, being like a big brother brother figure. That's why I do feel like Chopper meeting up with Carrot and Wanda could be a really good option. First off, he's a doctor, so he could kind of heal them up a little bit. But second of all, combining the powers of those two together, it could lead to a pretty even fight with some of the stronger characters like Perospero. And Chopper is another character that I really don't have a matchup for right now. But at the same time, I don't feel like he's just gonna sit on the sidelines and make medicine the whole time, because in Onigashima right now, it does feel like all the Straw Hats are gonna get their fights and gonna get their shine. That's why we're paying so much attention to who else gets this shine and gets the fights, because they could be potential Straw Hats. Somebody like Tama, who's actually shown up on Onigashima and is now doing her thing. Yamato is also being featured a lot, and I feel like she will get a fight as well. And Momo is having a good time, I guess. But yeah, for Chopper and Carrot, I do feel like both of them will get their shine as well. But there's not really enough opponents to go around for them to fight individual people. Really, for Chopper, another person that makes sense is Queen, and he would have to team up with like Sanji to even contribute in that fight. Hawkins is another wild card, but Chopper fighting Hawkins just doesn't make any sense. So a 2v1 of Chopper and Carrot versus Perospero, I actually feel like would be a pretty good fight, because Chopper would likely be in the forefront doing a lot of the work in the beginning. That way we could finally get a proper Chopper fight, something we really haven't gotten in a long time, and it'll be against a pretty strong opponent with Perospero. So even if Chopper doesn't win that fight and he just high diffs Perospero, it would be a pretty good feat for Chopper. At this point, we've seen so little of Chopper fights, I'll take anything. But yeah, Chopper teaming up with Carrot here, I feel like would even out the playing field and would allow Carrot to get her shine and revenge. As of right now, I do feel like Sulong Carrot in a 1v1 against Perospero is not gonna be enough. Like, if Carrot's gonna realistically defeat Perospero in a 1v1, she's gonna need a pretty powerful power-up. And she might even need one even though she's teaming up with Chopper, which gets us to a potential power-up, which is the Rumple Ball. Now, this was something I was mostly against because I always felt like the Rumple Balls were special to Chopper. Like, I never thought if Kaido just got his hands on some and ate it, he would just become an absolute beast. I feel like the Rumple Balls are specifically designed for Chopper and only works for him. And of course, the science behind Zoans and Minks are definitely completely different. But at the same time, because of how long Chopper and Carrot have been together and how he knows about Carrot's powers, maybe while they were sailing to Wano, he developed some sort of medicine for her. It doesn't have to be another Rumple Ball, it could be another name, and would be a major power up for Carrot and take care of one of her shortcomings of only being able to use Sulong when there's a clear sky and there's a full moon. Now, you might be saying it kind of feels like it comes out of nowhere, but think about when Nami first busted out her Cleam attack in Alabasta, that kind of came out of nowhere as well. It could kind of be similar to that situation where Carrot kind of like flashes back of like her talking to Chopper like, hey, can you make some kind of medicine for me so I can like go fight in Sulong longer? Because as of right now, although Sulong is very strong, the limitations are just huge. Now, of course, this Rumple Ball obviously can't be super broken. It won't just get rid of her like physical limitations. The main thing it should be able to do is allow her to enter Sulong without the full moon. Now, you might be wondering, if she did have that, why didn't she just use that against Perospero? But that could be sorted out in a variety of ways. Maybe Chopper just made it and just finished it recently, or it could just have some massive drawbacks and Chopper doesn't know if it will be absolutely effective. Like, having some consequences to kind of counteract it would be pretty good as well, almost like Chopper's monster point pre-time skip. So that way Carrot has a power up, but now she has to kind of train it as well, because the big downside of Sulong at the end of the day is that you cannot last in it forever, or else you just exhaust yourself and die. So yeah, overall, the idea of a Rumple Ball power up I'm definitely not mad at, but even without that, the team up of Carrot and Chopper I would really love to see. But of course, Chopper is not the only option. Nami and Usopp are also a pair that Carrot can meet up with. Besides Chopper, Nami's probably the closest to Carrot on the Straw Hats. Those two also had a pretty strong relationship in Whole Cake Island. Plus, Carrot definitely fits into the dynamic of the weak trio, so she would definitely slide right in with Nami and Usopp. Now, the problem is I just don't know how she can make an impact with them that could really develop her character. Like, as of right now, those two are with Tama trying to carry out her plan of like turning all the beast pirates. So I guess if Carrot joins up with them, she could kind of help out with like feeding people dongos. But ultimately, Nami and Usopp are gonna get their individual shine, and I think they're gonna find ways to power up to come back and defeat Page 1 and Ulti. And when that fight comes around, I don't really think Carrot could contribute in any way. It also really just has nothing to do with her and wouldn't really build off her character. So with Nami and Usopp, I could definitely see Carrot meeting up with them very quickly, but that's not gonna be her main thing in Act 4. But finally, we have another very possible option, and that is Carrot meeting up with Sanji. Now, this is actually an option I did not mention in my recent Sanji video, where I mostly talked about King, Queen, and Jack as Sanji's main opponents, but Sanji versus Perospero has a lot backing it as well. Now, power-wise, story-wise is probably not the most exciting, but narrative-wise, there's a lot going for it. Because if you think about it, the person that really killed Pedro was Sanji. I mean, like, obviously Sanji didn't kill Pedro, but Pedro would not have died if Sanji did not get captured. So honestly, I do feel like Sanji could feel some guilt for that as well, and him fighting Perospero could make a lot of sense. Now, as far as Sanji meeting up with Carrot, those two have a pretty good relationship as well, but the main problem here is that if Sanji fights Perospero, Carrot doesn't need to be involved. Because I do feel like if Sanji fights Perospero at this point, it would kind of be Bluno-like. Not saying Perospero is weak, but I do feel like Sanji could fight stronger opponents. Also, he's a perfect counter to Perospero because he has Diablo Jambe, he can generate fire and just melt right through the candy. So in this scenario of Sanji fighting Perospero, it would kind of force Carrot to go do something else, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It could be a moment of recognition of like she is not strong enough right now, which is almost kind of like the Usopp moment back in Enies lobby of Sanji saying, hey, I'll defeat this guy because you can't, you go do something else I can't do. Now, what exactly would that be for Carrot? I'm not exactly sure. If you want to lean into like her ability as a lookout, maybe like Onigashima is like problematic, there's a lot going on, and she's just bouncing all over the place like delivering information. But I'm sure Oda could figure out something else for Carrot to do and for her to make an impact. But another option is that Sanji does just body Perospero for a while, but then there's a bigger threat that comes into play that he has to go off to. And that way the fight is a little more even now for Carrot in her Sulong form to take on Perospero. So yeah, with this scenario, I definitely could see it happening. It would just be very different from like a Chopper and Carrot 2v1 against Perospero. But yeah, overall, I definitely believe Carrot will bounce back in Act 4. The fact that Oda even set up this Perospero thing in the first place and kind of gave a caveat to her losing, I think for sure he's preparing to give her some shine in something else later. So all my Carrot for Straw Hat people, do not worry, Carrot will bounce back. But I'm definitely interested to hear what you guys think about Carrot and what she's gonna do in the rest of Wano, so let me know in the comments below. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, please hit that like button. To keep up with the channel, you gotta hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to get notified. Thank you to all my King Pirates Elite members on YouTube and Patreon for supporting the channel. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Twitch at ImDZach, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!